What up?
We're back.
I can't believe we are back at it. How are you guys doing out there?
Who is out there? Show yourself mighty and strong.
I'm trying to fix this hair. I try to do a little something different, and I'm not sure if it's working, but we'll see. But anyway, OM to the G.
OM to the Jeezy.
Oh my gosh. What up, what up, what up, Mr. Steffens? I hope I'm saying it right. Stevens, Steffens. Oh my gosh. Wow. So, people out there, I can't help but, I don't know, feel. I can't help but feel from our last conversation. It was definitely what up, Duo? It was definitely a story, our story.
Oh, they want the horns.
Oh
yeah,
my
we
gosh.
keep playing ourselves. We gotta sound one more time for Othenio. One more time for Duell.
We're gonna get it. We have to get it right, the beat right, so that we can hit it at the same time.
I just go like that, dun, 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 because I'm just dope like that.
You are dope. So anyway, last week we talked extensively about our story.
Yeah.
And
how we met, how we stayed together. Wait, 3 weeks in a row. So we had MS.
No, we had mental health. Well, you said in a row, so.
Okay, so we had 4 weeks. So we had mental health, we had MS, we had how we met, and how we stayed together.
How we stayed together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those I think all of them were major. All those conversations were major, because I know a lot of times in our communities we don't share openly about things that we are going through.
Right.
Especially a pastor, much more. Usually those things are almost like either they're taboo or no one wants to talk about it because of the attention that they may bring or people seeing them in a different light. But at the end of the day, real talk, we are all humans. We go through a whole lot of stuff, and a lot of times we suffer in silence. So if we can but help somebody.
Okay, you got the soundtrack today?
I got the soundtrack. If we can do that, then just one person, then I think we would have accomplished what it is that we set out to accomplish. So last week, oh my gosh, the comment section was going crazy.
It was litty.
Basically, it was super crazy because a lot of people didn't know our story, or if they did know the story, they didn't know that second half. And that second half of our story was one that was hard, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny how we, even after we talked in front of Facebook, we had maybe about like 15, no, we spent about 30 minutes.
YouTube too. YouTube. We're on YouTube as well.
Right, YouTube. But we had a post conversation after the conversation we had with you guys, because there were some things that I don't think do you think that we were, what would you say the conversation was in jest about?
I think like the conversation was just us reflecting, right? Like, and just saying, wow. I think a lot of things that we talked about last week, we had to debrief amongst ourselves because it just was, some things were crazy, some things were like new revelations that I had discovered about myself, that Carlene had discovered by herself. So it was just we were just debriefing really. And I think that's why it's good for couples to talk. It's good for you all to share your stories with each other. Even though you've been through it, it's good to just reminisce. And hopefully it doesn't take you to a bad place.
Yeah.
You're mature enough to be in a good place to say, wow, I can't believe that. Because you learn about yourself when you share.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that, as you just mentioned, sometimes if you haven't dealt with those wounds, that happened before you got married or even while you're married, that sometimes when it's brought back up, it's almost like pouring salt on a open cut. And so for honestly, real talk, because we're all being real, right? This is all about being real. Real talk. I had several moments after our conversation with Jamie, and I really had to kind of restrain myself. And I think even the day after, I was kind of like in a funk because in my mind, yes, it's our past, it's our story, and accepting it for what it is. But at the same time, it's very hard. It was hard for me to not think about the what ifs. Like, what if this didn't happen? Like, what if we got married right out of after you graduated AUC? What if Andrews didn't happen? What if your mom didn't? Your mom was a lot more welcoming and accepting. That's the word, accepting of who I am. Like, what if? So sometimes if I had to catch myself, and he caught me too, because I just kind of felt like I was spiraling, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. I'm having several moments. So thank God we talked it out. Yeah, we talked it out. I think it took us 2 days to talk it out.
Right. And I think there were like moments where I needed to like apologize because I was feeling like kind of like trash too, like all of the stuff that I was doing, the back and forth, the indecisiveness. So I thought that that was important too. So it's like I started feeling bad. You look back at your 30-year-old self. You
Or
look back
20.
at your 20-year-old self. At a certain age, at this age of 40, I feel bad about that person that I was. But, that's who I was. And, we were able to process and get through it. And I think though, we need to do a parenting episode. Dun, dun, dun. Do I have a horn for that? I don't have a horn for that.
I don't
have
think
anything.
You should have a horn for that.
All right. Well, we could clap because the people would clap.
Okay. One clap.
Parenting.
But yeah, we could definitely talk about that because, Lord have mercy, if you are not asking those very important questions while you are dating and not waiting until you're married, and then you start to say, when the child comes, you're like, wait. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Your approach to certain situations, and oh my gosh,
children change the game.
Children definitely does change the game for sure. But I definitely think that our conversation last week was pretty deep and serious. I mean, like over 3,000 of you guys watched it. And what's interesting, I kept telling Jamie, I was like, they watching it because they just want to mind business.
No, they're watching it because they like the realness. As you see in the comments right now, the people are saying they appreciate the real talk. Yeah. They appreciate the candor. They appreciate the honesty. And most of all, they appreciate my raps. And so thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much because I see the comments in the section. Y'all love the raps and the horn. So I feel like crying.
Maybe I should leave and you can just rap.
No.
Because according to you, like
you were the dancer.
No. I'm not a dancer. Like I'm not your backup dancer.
You're my side dancer.
Wait a minute. What did you just say?
I said the side.
No, it sounds like I heard a coming out of your mouth.
Part of me, side part, like the side part, side kick. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not your sidekick.
Kick side.
I'm not that either.
You're a side.
Carlene is not a sidekick.
You're beside me, right? You're the B side. Right? No?
I don't have anything for that.
Okay. You're beside me. Adam and Eve were beside each other. You were dancing beside me.
Nope. I don't like it. You're going to have to fix that one because it seems like you digging that hole real. Go ahead. I'm not his side piece, girl. Listen.
You are.
Fix it.
All right. You are the roti for my curry. You are the water for my sand. You are the cheese and my macaroni. You are the money in the bank.
What?
Without you, there'll be no me. I love you beside me. Horns!
No horns.
Horns! Don't. Oh, you moved on.
That was not even cute.
All right, all
Not
right,
even
all
a
right,
little
all
bit.
right, all right. You're not my side piece. All right. See that? A roti for my curry. They like them bars. Muta, what up, Muta?
Fix it and fix it good now.
See,
Exactly,
I fixed it
Gianna.
real good, Gianna. Didn't
Shoot,
I?
because I'm like, side what? That's not how I
Yo,
roll.
yo, I'm gonna hit them real. I didn't mean it like like you my trophy or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
I just need you to fix it. That's it.
Did I fix it, people?
I think you halfway fixed it, but it shouldn't have kind of come out your mouth in the first place. But anyway, moving on with our conversation. Moving on. So today we just kind of wanted to do like a question answering. Just kind of have you guys throw out some questions to us. You guys throw out some questions for us to I like that.
True.
She's your only piece.
That's right. The only piece next to me.
Oh my goodness. What do you mean next to you? Is there another piece elsewhere?
Nope. There's no other piece anywhere. I have my daughters.
They're your piece as well?
They're my pieces that complete me because I'm incomplete.
You are complete.
Well, without you, I feel lost.
Man, you are not doing well today with your words. I don't know what's going on, but you need to fix it.
Yo, I'm gonna just be quiet because my presence is power.
Guys, I think this is about to be the ending of our broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all next week because this dude that's sitting next to me, I don't know what he's on right now, but he needs to come all the way off his horse and go and do something else. I'm not sure what's happening.
Musa said you're killing yourself, bro.
Exactly. Like, what's going on?
All right, I'm gonna just.
All
So,
right, guys.
what are we gonna talk about today?
All right. We're waiting for those. So Marie says she has a question. Hit us, Marie. What's your question? We're going to try to be as honest as possible because there's no other way to keep it real. So go ahead and hit us with the questions and we'll try our best to answer it to our best ability. Okay. Carlene, my wife wants to know when Jamie was 4. Huh?
When I was 4 years old.
What?
Yeah, type it again, Othniel.
My wife wants to know when Jamie was. Okay, I'm going to wait for him to.
Yeah, or put in another question because we really want to answer this one.
Yeah, we really do. So Jamie and I were talking, what was it, the other day? And we were talking about our journey thus far. And we were saying to ourselves that if you could have chosen, if you could have done anything different with our journey, how would you, okay, let me pause my question.
All right. Zuri has a good question. How's your relationship with each other's family, seeing that there were some tensions at the beginning?
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So who starts first?
You go.
Me? All right. So
quiet.
I think my relationship with Carlene's family is A-okay, at least from my end. I don't know what they say in the back room, but I trust and believe that they're not saying anything about me because they are 100% fully transparent. We have a good relationship, no problems there. It's wonderful that I can go and I can talk to them, just hang out there and just chill. And yeah, so we're good. There were actually never any tensions, no double negation.
No, but I'm assuming that she's saying
right.
Family seeing that there were some tensions at the beginning.
Right. Talk your talk.
Okay, we're gonna be real. Okay. All right. So basically, at the beginning it was very difficult. It was hard to feel a part of. I don't know. Yeah, let me be real. It was hard at the beginning to feel like I was a part of. knowing that I wasn't necessarily, I mean, I had to realize that it wasn't necessarily about me per se. I kind of had to dumb it down to a sense where I realized, and we didn't get to talk to about this in our last conversation, but um, Jamie is the last child. I think it's three of nine. I think I know there are three of you, and so he's about there's about a 6 and 7 year gap from his sisters, and so when his sisters left home, he was basically at home with his mom, and so I think there was a lot of dependency there. But I probably should let you talk and not me talk about it. Go for it.
Me talk? Okay.
Yeah, go and just kind of explaining what that dynamic was and why do you think that contributed to it all.
Yeah. So, okay, so we got more questions coming in, but just quickly, there's this dynamic with where sometimes the last child, the the boy or the girl, kind of becomes that parent's like companion in a sense, like they do everything together, they're one, they're going out together, and they're everything. And sometimes it's usually kind of difficult for parents to let go of that, you know that last child, right? That baby.
Looking up there.
Oh yeah, that last child, that baby. So I think there was that dynamic to see like somebody else swooping in and coming in and take that. Now, most people really don't see that or don't understand that. So I think from my perspective, from my mother's perspective, or from my family's perspective, I'm always viewed as the child, right? The baby who probably doesn't know what the right decision is going to make or the best decision, or you're not ready for that yet. You're not mentally, you need to prepare yourself more and things like that. So I think seeing Carlene coming in, and guys do this all the time, right? When a guy meets a girl, his attention completely shifts from being focused on his family. Let me not say not all. In most cases, in some cases, that guys completely shift their focus and they become 100% invested in who this new young lady is. You don't see them at home anymore. They're not around. So I think there was that dynamic of, hey, what's going on? I don't know nothing about this. You're gone. You're this, and here is all my attention being driven to this young lady, And so I think that drove some of the tension of like pulling me away. Like I remember at the wedding, someone came up to me someone came up to us. When you say your goodbyes to everybody or you're greeting them, and they were like, "Please don't take Jamie away from us." And, it's kind of like, what do you mean take me away from y'all? I'm your family. You can't take me away. So I think those were some of the difficult hurdles that Carlene had to navigate through in the beginning of our relationship. But now, I'll let you speak on this part. It's a respectful environment, right? It's everybody's talking. We still see each other. We still speak. Like my sisters, they've never had beef with Carlene. I think it was just that whole dynamic of me just being in the beginning, like, he's gone. He's drifting. He needs to focus on ministry. He doesn't need to be focusing on any girl right now. He needs to get his own job and all this other stuff. So
yeah, so the family tensions at the beginning was a little bit, it was hard to navigate at the beginning because of course all those things that I knew and felt. And then as I think I prayed and I let myself realize that it wasn't necessarily me, but it was more so, it felt as though she was, Jamie's mom was losing the person that she was his go-to all the time. And so now that him and I are married, it was a little bit hard to navigate at the beginning, but I think it's very respectful now. Right now, it's very respectful, cordial. There's no beef or whatnot. But it's still sometimes, like the conversation that we had on, when was it? We had last week, that kind of brought back those memories. And I'm just like, man, sometimes I wished I had the experience of some of my friends or some people I know that who had that automatic, like, hey, oh my gosh, welcome to the family kind of feel. But that's not our story. And that's just something that I'm still navigating, y'all. Real talk. I'm still trying to navigate that thing. But for the most part, we're good.
Right.
Yeah.
We're good.
Sorry, that was a long story. Yeah.
So Mary Eves.
Wait. Go back to Othniel's question, please.
I'm trying to do them in order.
Yeah, his was first.
Oh, okay. So Mary, stay by. We're gonna get there. Carlene, my wife wants to know when Jamie was 4.
Wait,
so
no, the right one for you.
Oh, the right one for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So wait, Carlene, she asked me, right?
That's you.
How did I know? No, I think how I knew was, as I said, the series of events that happened, how we connected, was definitely what it is that we felt. What I felt like, okay, this is God moving in or leading me down this path. I think through prayer, as I mentioned last week, and I think we fasted as well. We like fasted and prayed. We missed that to share that part. We fasted, we prayed, and had many times where we just kind of really wanted to seek God's guidance in this. And so it's just something that I can't say that this is how I knew. Like, I knew exactly when this happened that I knew that Jamie was for me. I think it's just over time and over a period of time that I realized that, yeah, this dude is someone that I definitely want to be with, especially after we went through our tumultuous whatever story issues. I think after I think for sure, I knew when he was at Andrews and he kind of got real serious. And that time when he was like pursuing me hard again, that's when I was just like, okay, yeah, all right. He seems as though that he will make this.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that always, like for me, that always kept me connected to Carlene was how we met, how we came together. It just wasn't like you know, the story. It just wasn't like that how you doing, shorty type of thing, New York. It was like a real, for me, divine connection, right? That we had a friend that was supposed to introduce us to each other, never was able to do it, but then we still happened to cross each other's path. So that kept on bringing us back. Now, what I would say for anybody that's in a relationship, one thing's important is like, don't forget your story. Like, don't forget, how you met, why you met, and why you are together. Mm-hmm. And I think those things are valuable in strengthening your relationship going forward. And the understanding that we didn't just meet just simply because we like each other, but we met because we have a purpose. Mm-hmm. Especially if God is bringing you together, we have something that we have to do with each other.
Yes.
All right. You want to marry? You want to do Mary?
All right. Mm-hmm.
Mary asked the question. So, Carlene, I heard you last week on how you guys broke up. Did you feel like giving up on the relationship? And are you Haitian?
I'm not Haitian. Low-key, I wish I was, but no, I'm not Haitian. So I was born in Suriname, but the majority of my family are from Guyana. So I'm more Guyanese than I am Surinamese, but it is what it is. So yeah, no, I'm not Haitian. I wish I were.
But
I love the culture.
We love the culture. We love the cuisine. So if you got some black rice,
I love everything about
legumes. If you could next day deliver that, that would be honorable. I'll give you a T-shirt.
Oh my gosh!
All right, thank you.
Oh my gosh! But yes, I definitely wanted to end the relationship. I definitely gave up. As I said, when I decided to move on and do whatever it is that I wanted to do, that's what I really felt. That was me giving up on the relationship. And as I said last week, I was comfortable with being whatever to Jamie, right? If it was just a what up, how you doing, but still very much at that point where I was just like, I'm good. We're good.
Yeah. Right. So I think we kind of answered this,
right?
Yeah,
we did.
All right. So when did we know that we were both right for each other? All right. So we kind of answered that. Here we go. Let's
I think
see.
this one.
No, that's a comment. That's
Okay.
David. He's like our resident genius. So we thank you, David, for coming in every week.
Yes.
And being our resident genius. Like on the talk shows, we're gonna defer to David for this one. David, what is your expertise
Yes.
on this? So yeah, we appreciate David for that. So here we got Ray Marshall, man. I think Ray is coming to us all the way from the UK, United Kingdom. I think so. Or you got a brother in United Kingdom named Ray Marshall. So hi, Carlene. How have you managed to maintain your own identity and not be identified solely as a pastor's wife? And have you found that difficult? Nice.
Wow. Wait, okay. I can read it from here. I can read it there. You don't have to put it up. Okay. How have you managed to maintain your own identity and not be identified solely as a pastor's wife? Listen to me. I'm a work in progress. Where can I start? So when I think it was at Ephesus when we were there, that was his first what assignment, and I realized that first of all, working alongside Dr. Elfrida Blue was one of the most amazing experience that I've ever had. The relationship and the bond that we had definitely opened up my perspective in terms of what being a pastor's wife should look like, and seeing how she did it. Like, the sister is off the chain. So shout out to Sister Blue, Auntie Frida, my kid's godmother. Listen to me. She is a mentor. She's just amazing. So she is pretty much where I first understood or got that, be your own person. Do whatever it is that you want to do that makes you comfortable. And for me, slowly but surely, I had to realize that I do not fit that mold, right? Realizing that Carlene does not fit that mold of what a pastor's wife looked like, how a pastor's wife speaks, how a pastor's wife walk. Majority of the times you see a pastor's wife and they're super graceful and super sweet and soft spoken, and oh my gosh, you're just the sweetest thing. That's not me, in a sense where I'm just a little bit, I would say that I'm like raw on the edges, or a bit edgy, and just learning to embrace myself, embrace Carlene, knowing that I may not necessarily have the right words to say at the right time. I fumble on my words. I'm not perfect in that way. I kind of love to dress the way that I want to dress. I don't want to have to become someone else in order to fit into a mold. And so it's a constant fight where I'm constantly doing this, y'all. Like, nope.
Don't fit.
You're making me, I'm uncomfortable.
Back up off.
And so even, how I dress, my hair, has been something that has really allowed me to truly express myself the way I feel most comfortable. And thanks to this dude over here who is always like, I'm always like, yo, you don't have to do horns.
I want to do horns because he said it. Shout out to me.
So I don't want, every time I'm like, yo, I want to wear this, I want to do this. And he's always like, yo, do it. There's something that I really want to do that might shock a lot of you. And when you see it, you're probably going to be like, okay, pastor's wife. But I think one of the sole purposes that I have as a pastor's wife is allowing other people to see how real we are. We are human beings at the end of the day. Yes, there is a calling on our husbands' lives, but it does not necessarily have to dictate how I live, how I move, how I talk, how I dress, how I whatever. So it's been a journey for sure. But I think more and more I'm becoming more comfortable in my skin, comfortable in doing whatever it is I want to do. For those of people that may talk and say, oh my gosh, you see what the pastor's wife is wearing, or you see what the pastor's wife is saying, or you see what the pastor's wife, how her hair is. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, because I'm not apologizing for being me and being all of me. I'm genuinely genuinely imperfect. Like that's me.
Yeah.
So it's either you take it or you leave it. I even forgot the other question that he asked at the end. Sorry.
Have you found that difficult?
Have I found it difficult? Well, I guess I kind of put it in there. It is difficult at times, and sometimes at the beginning of pastoral ministry, I used to compare myself a lot to other pastors' wives and just think, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I can feel that. I wish I can, you know, be like them. And just realizing I really can't. You know, there's only one Carlene, and I want to embrace that woman. I want to embrace that person. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I've always supported her in whatever she wants to wear, whatever hair color. Didn't make sure she's part of this ministry, a part of that ministry, or playing the piano for me, or singing for me. She's her own person, and I've always liked being different. Dress differently, talk differently, preach differently than everybody else. So I'm happy to be married to this wonderful woman who walks in her own armor, and I celebrate all the women who walk in their own armor, who are, breaking the glass ceiling and not trying to fit into the stereotypical concept or idea of what a godly wife or a pastoral wife should look like. You look like a human being. Be that.
Exactly. I love that. I look like a human being.
We
all look like human beings.
Be that.
We should be that.
So my dude, my brother, my other really dope dude.
Yes.
If y'all got to check our show out, he asked this question. He says, how do we? Let's see.
He's right there.
Oh, where's he at? Where he at? Did you shout out Norma Hunt? She's from Suriname.
Suriname.
She's from Suriname.
I should say, how do you say, who cut it?
All right, I'm speaking tongues now.
I'm not. Well, it is a tongue, but whatever.
All right, so McDonald's want to know, how do you decide on middle ground when there are disagreements?
Mercy. Well, can we first say this? I don't know, guys, you heard our story, and I'm not sure if going through what we went through allowed us to really get a sense of who we are. And when it comes to disagreements, I have to say, I don't even know how many times we've argued in that sense of that, we don't
yell at each other.
Yeah, that's right? A hard no.
Or we don't yell, period.
No, that's a hard no, because he already knows, for me, listen.
Yeah. And I'm not a yeller either.
No, he's
I'm
not.
the kind of person that I'm not going to argue with you. I'm non-confrontational. And I think arguing is a waste of time, because at the end of the day, you're both yelling. You're not listening to each other. That's one. And all you're trying to do is get your point out. Maybe it's bad, but this is how I am. I don't really care to argue with you. So it's this Jay-Z line, right? Jay-Z says, a wise man told me don't argue with a fool, because people from afar can't tell who's who. So I'm just I'm not arguing with you. Live your life, do what you want to do. If you want to walk out in the middle of the highway, I told you don't do it. You want to do it? Yo, have fun. Knock yourself out if that's all you're going to do. So I'm not an arguer. We don't yell. We don't scream at each other. And then we also are intentional about that, even before we got married or while we've been married. But we're also intentional about that in front of our children. So we don't want our children to think that yelling is a way to get heard or to get your point across. So how do we deal with disagreements? We do have disagreements.
Yeah, we do, for sure. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie about that. We definitely have disagreements.
Yeah, we definitely have disagreements, but I'll champion Carlene for this. When we have a disagreement, she will not let me go to sleep unless we deal with it. So I'm the kind of person to be like, whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to sleep. This woman will wake me up at 2 a.m. and be like, we need to talk.
I'll be like this.
I'm like, I don't want to talk.
Because you finished? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. And so, but I appreciate that. And then, we also have our ways of understanding each other, because we've been married for 12 years. So Carlene knows that sometimes when there's a disagreement on something that we don't see eye to eye, that I need my little time, my little space. And then I know she needs her time, her little space, even though she likes to deal with it at the moment.
Like, and I think that's most women.
Like, no, we gonna talk about this now. Like, I'm like, I can't. I'm here. I don't want to say nothing I don't mean. So, we found a way that works for us, right? And what works for us may not always work for you. You have a different way, a different style, but we found a way that works for her, works for our personalities, works for mine, and we get through it. But yes.
Yeah, so he's not confrontational at all. But guess who is? I'm confrontational. I am
East
like
New York.
Come on, man. I got shout out my hood for it. But I think growing up with 3 brothers, I'm the only girl. And so I've just always had to fight for what I wanted, like fight for my life. And my mother always taught us to be vocal. If we want something, if we want something, go for it. Or if we have something to say, we just speak up and let your voice be heard. So that's what I've grown up into. And so for us, when we do have those disagreements, how do we find that middle ground? Is realizing, okay, I'm here and you are here. So what should we do? Should we come back where we can both be on a leveled space or a leveled frame of mind or whatever, or should we just hash it out right now? And I think that's that's what changed the game for us, because I'm the nope, let's do it right now. There is no other time. Like, it's either now or I can't rest. I can't go to sleep. All right. And so having him understand that, yes, that is how you want to deal with it, but I'm not necessarily ready to talk about it the way that you want me to talk about it. Because I've learned at the very beginning of our marriage that when I'm ready to talk about it and he's not ready to talk about it, it feels like I'm talking to a wall. Like, he's not responsive. He's not saying, he's like not, giving me the answers that I want him to give. And it's just like, yo, what's good? Like, why are you just not like talking? This is a conversation. And it was basically me just venting, and him not saying anything. So I think it's really learning your partner, learning your husband and or your wife, and being like, okay, all right, now is not the time. And it's okay to not take that time. But for me, it's super hard because I am that being who wants to just, let's hash it out right now so I don't have to think about it. I cannot go to sleep if we are having a disagreement, if we are at odds over an issue or a problem or something. I'll be up like this and he will be like this.
Yep.
Not.
No. And even with outside of our relationship, Carlene can't let stuff go. Nope. Like, just let it be. I remember the bagel. Remember the bagel?
Yeah.
I went inside of a bagel store early in the morning, getting breakfast before before I drop her off to work. This was like before the kids. So I go in there and get a bagel, and I think I paid maybe like $2 for the bagel.
All right.
The bagel should have costed $1.75. So I come out with no change. Carlene's like, "Where's the change?" I'm like, "What change?" She was like, "This bagel says $1.75 on the paper, and I gave you $2. Did you get the quarter back?" And I'm like, "Yo, it's just a quarter. Like, let it go. Let's go." She's like, No, it's the principle. It's the principle." So no lie, I must have sat in that car for like 10 minutes looking at that bagel shop because she is waiting for me to go back inside and ask for a quarter. So what I did was I went back inside the store. I found a quarter in my pocket and I came back outside and said, "Here's a quarter." Yeah.
Are you serious?
True confession.
This dude, he came back inside and I'm thinking he went and got the change that was rightly his.
I'm like, it's not that deep. So that's the difference between us. There's some things that are some battles from worth fighting for. She is going to fight every battle. So when we go buy a car for our last 2 vehicles that we've purchased, I make sure I bring Carlene with me. Because I'm the kind of guy that's like, yo, they come down once, I'm like, all right, let me sign the paper. She gonna stay there. We've stayed in dealerships.
Actually, twice since we've been out here.
They've closed and we've stayed inside there and we've gotten the number that we want to pay. So we balance each other.
For sure.
And even when we have disagreements outside, because I'll be like, "Yo, we could afford this. Let's just pay for it." She's like, "Nope, I want it at this price." And the people get so frustrated, they just like get out my dealership, take the car.
Absolutely.
Here's your price.
And
So,
I'm just like, thank you. Real
Yeah.
talk. But yeah, I think understanding your McDonald, to answer your question in a roundabout way, I think that you should definitely know your spouse, know when it's okay, know when to say, you know what, I can't do this right now. And having your spouse respect that. Like it took me a minute to respect that Jamie wasn't ready to necessarily delve into this particular disagreement. But even though he wasn't ready, I'll let him like go to sleep, and then I'll be like, dude, it's like we need to talk. Or I'll be like, Jamie, and he'll be like, and I'll be like, we gotta talk.
Yeah, and I know what that called me, Jamie.
So he'll like,
and she's sitting up. She's not laying down
nope,
in bed. She's sitting
because
up.
I haven't fallen asleep. So I'm just like, yo,
Circumspect.
mad militant, like, oh my gosh, this dude is knocked out while I'm trying to, I guess, work it out in my brain, because it's really hard for me to go to sleep with anything on my chest. I mean, that's just in general. If there's something that's bothering me that happened at work or whatnot, I'll be up processing that thing. As I told you, I process over and over, and almost in an obsessive way, where I'm obsessing over this one particular thing that it keeps me up. And I'm just like, I wish I can sometimes be like him, where he just kind of like, yo, whatever, shrug it off. But for me, I just have to go through that process. And after that is over, and after we've hashed it out, yo, we're good. But it is what it is.
And I think, it's just my, certain people's personality and my personality, where I don't feel like I always have to be right. I'm okay with being wrong. I'm okay with, like, yo, I messed up.
Yo.
And I think also that, I think sometimes that like may bother some people when you just come like, yo, I messed up. I messed up.
Yeah. And as he said, I think it's a matter of balancing each other out, and realizing that, when one isn't able to do something, the other can pick up the slack, or, it just works. Sometimes I look at Jamie's personality, and I'm just like, yo, I wish I had your personality. And then he sometimes would look at me and be like, yo, I wish I had your personality. So it's something that we are working on. Is rough sometimes, just trying to be like, yo, go back and get that 25 cents. Like, that joint belongs to you. Like, why are you, like, even though it's 25 cents, it's the principle of the fact that they did not give you what you were owed. Like, go get, what are you doing?
And what's amazing about having children, so Granger's got a question, right? We got to answer Granger's question. So what's amazing about having children is I see my personality in my youngest daughter, who's very easy-go-lucky, like, it's not a big deal. My oldest daughter, Caitlin, is all Carlene.
Yeah.
Like that little girl she is so persistent that you like, here, take it. I don't care. Just leave me. Just leave me alone. Just go. Like, she will not stop. She will not stop, like fighting for what she wants, fighting for what she needs constantly. It's so she's so smart in how she does it too. She'll ask you once, go away, and then come back like 5 minutes later, ask the same thing over and over. So, but Amber, she's just like, yo, I just want to chill, fam. That's about it. So,
yeah.
All right.
You said Anthony had a question?
Yeah, Anthony Granger. What's up, Granger? It's been a minute. He asked this question. He typed it in a while back. How do you guys compromise in your marriage?
Well, that we just showed you. Told you one way that we compromise, where we get to that place where we realize, okay, you're not ready. This is not your strong suit. So let me pick up the slack and try to balance it out that way.
Yeah. And then there are moments too where it's like where even outside of the marriage, where Carlene is best in fighting for certain things, and then there's moments where inside the marriage where I'm like, she's like, nah, this situation requires your personality to just calmly and smoothly and take care of it. And within our marriage, we understand that we understand our strengths and our weaknesses. And so I help her weaknesses, she helps my weaknesses. And some things are just not worth fighting for. So if it's like something that she wants to do with the girls, and maybe I'm just like, no, I don't really know. We talk about it, and I'm like, okay, I express I'm not really feeling it, but then I'll be like, but I'm okay with it, and vice versa, right? So we understand what keeps a happy and a peaceful home, and what keeps the flames burning
Okay.
and yearning.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's
David keep bothering me about Greek. Yo, Dave, man, nobody. Let me tell you something about Greek, all right, fam. Nobody's learning Greek no more. There are computer programs that do it for us.
Well,
but I'm still
he's
okay.
just trying to let you know. He's just trying to say, don't forget that I asked about your
in archeologos. That's John chapter 1. That's all I remember.
Okay. All right. Duel. That's my brother, y'all. He's the second of the out of the four of us. And he asks, what or who has been the biggest influence in your life, past and present? That's a good one.
As a married couple or as individuals?
I don't know. You have to ask him. Who has been the biggest influence in your life, past and present?
I don't know if I have like a specific person. I think I pull from different people, different things that I see them do. So I really like admire my friends. Theo and his wife Golda. I admire their relationship. I admire their marriage, their family, their sustainability. Obviously, Dwell, you're an inspiration as well with how you and Monique take care of your girls and your son. And so I just like kind of admire and just look at how different people do things and just try to pick that up for myself and live the best that I can. So I try to surround myself with people that will make me better and that I see are doing better than me. So those are like my influences or my inspirations.
Yeah, I also pull from different people, different stages of my life that God has gifted their presence into my life, and I just kind of take from them, take certain things from them. Yeah, that's what I do. I take certain things from that relationship, and but I don't think I have the biggest influence. Of course, my mom is one of like my biggest influences. Just always have been so amazing, and so shout out to Mom Dukes, who has been. Yeah, horns for mom.
Horns for
mom. Mom always gets horns.
Horns for mom. Brother Samuel is watching. One part of the Samuel. Corn.
But I think as a married couple, it's super important to find like-minded people that kind of share in your interests.
Yeah,
or in your.
Yeah, you don't want to have toxic people in your circle or near your marriage, right? You don't want toxic people. You want to keep that. You can have toxic friends or you can talk to them, but you don't want them in your inner circle and you don't want them feeding you stuff about your marriage, about what you should be doing, or I can't believe you did that. And I think that's like a good conversation to have at some point about what you share and what you don't share is so important to protecting your marriage, like boundaries. And I think we're very, very mindful of the boundaries that we set for our marriage, that we set for our children, so that there's certain things that you can't, like, we're not sharing certain things with you because you don't need to know that, Right. So I don't believe in, maybe some people do, but I think we don't believe in just putting everything out there on the table and just open it up to everybody. Because man, there's more people out there that would rather see you fall than to fly.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, and we're trying to hopefully change that narrative by doing this talks every now and then. But I think that's important, right?
Yeah, that's
facts.
Super important.
Super facts.
That's super, super important. But yeah. Someone else asked the question. I know, Kay. I know that's kind of tough because I know that. Congratulations to the newlyweds. I know. There's a question before that.
Yeah, about.
But yeah, I know what that feels. I don't know what that feels like, to be honest, right? Because we didn't get married during this pandemic, but I can't imagine of that, you kind of feel isolated. And yes, of course, when your first year of marriage, you kind of just want it to be you guys. But it's also important for us. We had the Blues, Pastor and Sister Blue, as like our mentors to kind of help us navigate through pastoral ministry and just life, period. And so I know that is important. And I'm so sorry that you're missing out on that. But I'm praying that this will be over soon and that you can really be able to make those connections.
Yeah. COVID sucks.
Yeah, big time. All right. So, Kimberly Douglas. What up, Kim? Burley. I don't know if I can call you Kimberly. I mean, Kim. But her question was, what do you think you'll share with your girls about dating and relationships when the time comes?
I know when the time comes, I know what I'm going to share with whatever boyfriend comes over, and that is my sawed-off shotgun.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm going to put it right there on the table, and I'm going to have a nice little conversation with them, and I'm going to ask them, what are you doing here? And that's it.
Okay. I don't have anything to say about that.
Fellas, if you feel me, hit the like button.
Okay. So what do I think that I will share with our girls? There's so much, right? There's so much to share. And I think one of the main things that we're really trying to teach them is really learning to love themselves, all of who they are, and not necessarily depend on someone else to make them feel a certain way. And I know it's super hard, right? But just having them have a sense of confidence in knowing who they are, whose they are, and not to take crap from any dude. I think it's important for our girls to know our story. First of all, I think know our story, and for us to constantly have those conversations with them to kind of help them navigate through, okay, what it looked like for me, what it looked like for him, what is it that they should look out for, those warning signs in terms of guys. And it's actually something that I haven't given deep thought into because I'm scared to even think about it, because I'm just like, every time I look at them, I'm just like, one day there's going to be a dude that's going to be all over our daughters. And so I think for me, what I just shared, but as well as getting past one day they will grow up. One day they are going to grow up and they are going to have boyfriends. And I think one of the most important thing is just keeping the thing of communication, keeping communication open between us, because I don't want them to ever stop talking to me, and letting them know that whatever it is that they have to share, that mommy or daddy is not going to sit there and judge them or come down hard on them, because I think that was a lot of the fears that I had when I was growing up. Of course, going to a parent, going to my mom and being like, yo, mom, I have a boyfriend, and that, as a result, I'm like, sneaking around and having a boyfriend. And she's probably watching this now like, really? But I think keeping the thing of communication, keeping the lines, there we go, keeping the lines of communication, and just having them never stop talking to us, always talking, because I think that's really the avenue in which we can help them navigate that time.
Yeah, and what's important to me is not just verbal communication, but nonverbal communication. So how I treat Carlene, how I talk to Carlene, nice things that I do for Carlene in front of them, I think are ways that I'm talking to them, but not actually using words. And so hopefully by them seeing that, they'll see and grow up to be like, my father did this for my mom. My father carried the bags of groceries. My father held the door open. My father takes out the garbage. My father does all the things that he can. So those are ways that I talk to them. But I also know that, there comes a time I want to be their first date. And by being their first date, to take them out, to show them like these are the standards. If whoever, you know the person is cannot meet these standards, um, you know, uh, physically, education wise, all of those things, then you need to be like, yeah, I'm not lowering my standard for you. But, as Carlene stated, Caitlin is 9. She's gonna be 10 in March, and shoot, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also not looking forward to the other part. So daughters, um, fathers with daughters, holla at me. Fathers with sons, stay away from me, and we can talk.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But yeah, it's navigating that. I can't imagine. I know a few people that are navigating teenagers and adults and dating and oh my gosh, that because it I know I've heard it where they say children go from your lap to your heart, and I can see now what they meant by that. They're always on your mind, and yeah, just pray. Just pray, folks. Okay. Carolyn, that's my sis-in-law. Hey, sissy. Okay. So she's asking, how is it being vulnerable with others? With each other, sorry, in your marriage? How is it being vulnerable with each other in your marriage?
Yeah, I think that's something that's learned, right? Because men traditionally, or me traditionally, don't know what it is like to be vulnerable. I don't know what it's like to express. I don't know what it's like to talk or to show my emotions. And so that's something that I'm still learning and working through. Usually, I think, as a guy, we're just taught, just whatever goes wrong, just deal with it in your mind, get up, go to work, move on, provide for your family. But I think getting to that place of vulnerability, being able to get to that place, because you have to be able to trust your spouse.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to trust them with everything that's important to you, because you have to believe that they're going to protect your heart and protect your feelings. So it's a work in progress, Carolyn. I won't say like I'm completely and absolutely vulnerable, but I guess you can say whether I've gotten better or if I've gotten worse.
Oh yeah, Jamie has definitely gotten better from when we first got married. It just felt as though, yes, he was vulnerable, but it seems as though he was uncomfortable talking about some certain issues, or I just didn't feel like he was completely naked before me. And, with time, it definitely changed. And I think my personality is where I just keep digging. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't just say, all right, okay, you don't want to talk, you don't want to necessarily be a little bit more open with that. For me, I just keep digging, not all at once, but I just kind of keep poking away and chiseling away at that wall that he had at the beginning of our marriage, and just kind of letting him know, like, yo, like, who else are you going to talk to? Yes, he has a best friend named Theophil Samuel. Yes, he does.
I did the mouth.
But at the same time, I just feel like as his wife that vulnerability should be taken to the next level. So I think once, and I modeled that too, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of like, yo, this is all of me, maybe a bit too much. But at the end of the day, he's my husband. Like, like, who else am I going to be as vulnerable with? And so understanding and saying, acknowledging, yo, this is where we are in terms of this is where I am in terms of my vulnerability, and this is where you are in terms of your vulnerability, and just kind of poking and stripping slowly away, and you'll see those walls start to come down a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm. Joni,
what Gary. Up, Joni and Gary? We love you guys so much. Yeah, oh my gosh, they're like fam.
They got adults now.
Yeah, I know. Like, kids? I think one is in college. Their son is in college. The other one is probably in junior high school.
Straight up adults.
But I can't believe it. But anyway, Joni is asking, knowing what you know about PKs, how's that influencing how you raise your kids? That's a really good question.
Yeah, I think for me, it is allowing them to be themselves. and also allowing them to express themselves the way they want to. I know one thing Carlene's intentional about is not making them do everything at church or not making them be a part of everything at church because they're pastor's kids. And then also just being able to let them know that they can talk to us, that they can trust us. And then something I try to do with my pastoral ministry is I'm making more time for them than I am for the church. You know, so I don't want them to always be like, oh, daddy's going to the church today. Daddy can't come to this play because daddy's at the church, or daddy can't do this. So I just make sure that I keep the church at bay, do what I have to do there, but then also know like my kids are most important. So I don't want them to ever feel like they have to compete with my job or compete with ministry or compete with me being like all loving and friendly with other people's kids, and then when it comes to them, I'm just like telling them, sit down, move. No, so that's one of the ways that we're trying to, you know, reverse the narrative about pastors' kids, and also understanding those narratives that people make up about pastors' kids. They're not all bad. They're not all, you know, out of whack or crazy or anything like that. If anything, the church is contributing to some of their misery that they put, you know, on the kids and on the families, you know, and things like that. Because you know, so we do a great job at protecting them from the church. If I gotta say it like that.
Yes. Um, it's so funny. When Caitlin was born, we were at Ephesus. He was assigned at Ephesus. And I remember some people, I won't say a lot of people, some people were just like, we can't see the baby. We can't touch the baby. Because guess what, y'all? Caitlin was either in my arm, Sister Blue's arm, their dad's arm, Pastor Blue's arm, and that's it. Like no one else. Because I just felt as though, you know, we felt as though we didn't want our daughter to be like a football being tossed from hand to hand. That was just something that we chose to do. And protecting our child, you know, and some people may have taken offense to it. But for us, we were just like, at the end of the day, this is like my child. This is our child. Like, we have the right to choose who we want in our child's space. And even today, like we are very selective in that. It's so funny, especially coming to Texas. I remember someone sent me that meme where there was like a short list, and the meme said, "This is a short list of babysitters that I have for our kids." And it's so funny that they picked that up at such a like a when we first moved here, because you know, I should stop saying but we are very particular about who we allow in our girls' space, because we're not just that kind of parents that just say, okay, you can go here, you can go there. No, that's not it. That's not us at all. Um, and so I think as PKs, and we want to treat them just like how we feel like, yes, we are, he's a minister, he's a pastor, but at the same time they're kids, right? And we try to have them be kids. I know that sometimes at the beginning it was a little bit difficult with Jamie managing, you know, church life and traveling and things of that nature. But we finally got into a balance where the girls are experiencing their dad the same way someone else would experience their dad. But there are moments of where you just have to try to figure out the balance between church. But Jamie has been doing a phenomenal job with really prioritizing our girls, and allowing them to just enjoy their dad and enjoy being kids first before they are considered PKs. And we don't want to put that on them, because I know a lot of times, as Jamie said, like they'll say PKs are, you know, PKs are whatever. And to be honest, I can't judge a PK because I don't know what they have experienced. I know that it can be brutal, and it can be something that can forever change their life, living up to the expectation as a pastor's kid, and everyone thinking they have to be a part of this program or this whatever. and realizing they're just kids. And at the end of the day, like, they're just kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we do our best to protect them from people, because people are always going to have something to say. Oh, their kids are not this. Their kids are not doing this. Their kids should be in this. And I'm just like, they're our kids. So we make all the decisions on behalf of them, because you only get one shot, right? So you only get one shot to do certain things. And I know that in the early years of like 5, and, 6 and 7, those are formative years, and that's when their characters are developing. That's when their minds are developing. And the one things that I want them to make sure is that they develop in a pure and healthy way, as pure and as healthy as can be. And so I celebrate Carlene. I remember when the girls were born, and we took them. After a few months, you take them to church, and people wanted to hold them. Like Carlene's like, nope, nope, not touching my baby, not touching my baby, not touching that. So, it's just we have to do everything we can to protect them and to love them and let them be whoever God intends for them to be, and whatever that is, and just know that we did our part in steering them in the right direction.
Yes, yes, and I think that's so key that you said that. Um, sometimes the I don't want to say the church, but whatever influence, outside influences sometimes make you feel guilty or bad for doing something that you choose for yourself. That's something that Jamie and I just do not, that's something we do not compromise on. We do not compromise when it comes to our girls. Like, we're not strict to a certain extent, but we are very much protective of them and who's in their space and who's in their circle.
Right.
Because we know that there are predators. We know that there are people out there that wish harm on children. And I'm going to stop right there because I'll probably say something that I probably shouldn't be saying.
I need a gun rifle noise.
All right. What up,
Nathan? Nate the Great.
That's my homie. All right. So Nathan asks, hey guys, looking retrospectively on your journey together, what advice do you have for singles desirous of love marriage? Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I think going back and looking at just myself, I think before you can love anybody else, you have to know yourself, and you have to love yourself as well. So, and more so, I think when it comes to relationships, sometimes people think, what can I get from that person? But I think you really need to think about, what can you give to that person, or what can you add to this relationship? What do I bring to the table? And then, also knowing, does that person respect what you add or what you bring? That they accept you for who you are, and you can be yourself in front of them. So I think for anybody that's desirous of looking for love and looking for marriage is, first of all, know what you want first, right? Mm-hmm. Know who you are first, know what you're about, and then also make sure that that person is meeting your standard. Like, you're not lowering your standard just because you want the idea of love and marriage, because that will be disastrous after that. So, it's kind of a difficult question to ask, but I think that would be the advice I would give to myself, or if I'm talking to somebody, is that not simply what can I get, but what do I have to give? This is what I bring. Mm-hmm. And can you respect that? Can you honor that? And can you cherish that? And see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. That is your navigation system right there. When I realized my worth, when I realized that this is what I wanted and what I needed, that became my, whether I'm going to go back, I'm going to accept him back or I'm not. And so I think knowing who you are and knowing exactly what it is that you want, and help that to be how you guide, how conversations are guided, how if they say something you're like, that doesn't sound okay, or if they do something, those are things that you want to make sure that you're very much aware of. You're aware of yourself, self-awareness, and then you're able to then navigate and figure out if this person is for you. But I know it's not easy. There is no quick answer or quick fix, because from our journey, you could already see that it was nothing quick and in a hurry. It was more or less like painstaking moments of that really made our relationship what it was or what it is. And so learning to be patient with yourself and learning to be patient with the process as well, and not rushing anything just because, but really taking your time and allowing yourself to see that person in different areas, right? If they're saying something or doing something behind your back or to other, like, it's just really good for you to not just be hasty in it. Just take your time, know who you are, and allow that to guide you.
Mm-hmm. What question do you want to do next? You want to do that one?
This one?
Yeah.
One has to go, secrets or lies. They both have to go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, both have to go, but I think lies lead to secrets, right? So you lie about something because you're covering something up. So I would say that if you were to choose one, the lies lead to the secrets, right? The lies lead to the covering up. The lies lead to the. So I think if you get rid of the lies, you get rid of secrets,
right?
Or because sometimes, but secrets are not bad. And as far as you don't like secrets because I'm trying to plan you a surprise party. That's a secret. Well, I'm not actually trying to plan one for you.
Yeah, I know you're not.
But because your birthday's next year. But,
right.
Sometimes you keep those kind of secrets, but secrets that are damaging to the relationship, that make the relationship, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's leave it at damaging. So I would say secrets, but both got to go.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right, Jasmine.
Someone asked about spanking kids one time.
Wait, what? I missed that one.
It's at the bottom.
Okay. Wait, so we're gonna miss Jasmine?
Okay, so let's do Jasmine, and then we do spanking, and then we gotta go.
Hey, Jasmine!
Jasmine!
I remember Jasmine when she was a little girl at ECR, but shout out to you, darling. Okay, what is some advice that you would give to young women and men about dating, relationships, and courtship and things of those nature?
I think we kind of answered it, right? Know yourself. What do you bring? What do you have? And what are you looking for?
Exactly. And if you see something that you know doesn't sit right with you, it's going to be hard.
Chuck the deuces.
But it's going to be even harder in a marriage with children, right? Married with children, opposed to making the choice to say, I'm not okay with this. Because I know sometimes, as I said, for me, I was so in love or with the idea of love that there were some things that I missed at the beginning with Jamie, his indecisiveness. Those kinds of things I missed because I was just so enamored with, oh my gosh, I'm in love. I like this guy. Like, he's praying. He's doing all these really great things. But I failed to really hone in and not completely put up almost a veil to say, okay, maybe it'll go away over a period of time, or maybe this is something that will turn into something good. No.
Yeah. And
go with your with your intuition, right? Whatever your heart is telling you, like, chances are you are correct on it.
And also, to your point, a lot of times in relationships we lose ourselves, where we stop focusing on the things that we need to do for ourselves. And so we get so caught up in being everything that we can to that person that we forget about who we need to be for ourselves. So I would also suggest that make sure that you're not in some relationship that's consuming all your time, your mental space, that is making you, things are falling off, like your classes, your relationships with your friends, your work, your job, things like that. Like, a relationship is not supposed to come in between that, or come in between who you are. Like, you have your identity. So, what do you, I think establishing yourself first, like, this is who I am, this is what I bring, this is what I am, my standard. And that's it. And
it's so important that you said that, because when did you realize your standard? When did you come to that place where you're just like, this is the standard that I want? Because I know myself now. I know that this is where I want to go. When did you know that?
I think when it was about maybe around 27, towards the latter years of seminary. So finished the seminary about 27. Yeah, 27, about that age, going into my 30s. Like, that's when started mentally developing and maturing and started to say, okay, this is who I, this is the trajectory that I want to be on, and this is who I want to be. That's when that started happening.
Yeah, and that's so important because a lot of times we do lose ourselves in those people. And I think we kind of talked about that where sometimes when you're in a relationship with someone, you kind of and you're so gung ho and all you're doing is kind of focused and it's like tunnel vision. You really lose who you are and not being so, I don't know, so in love with love that you completely missed out on those flags, those red flags that are glaring at you, but because you are so like, oh my gosh, he loves me, she loves me, and I think it's really healthy for you to have your space, have your moment where you are just chilling by yourself with your peoples and it not always having to be with that other person. Because sometimes what happens is that you become handicapped and all you can kind of see yourself is with it is you can't see yourself outside of that person. So develop those healthy boundaries in the relationship so that you are able to still be yourself and not become that person's world where his friends become your friends. His hobbies or her hobbies become your hobbies, not son. You keep doing what you're doing, he keeps doing what he's doing, and then you just make it work.
Yeah, so like one of the things in our relationship, we are intentional about Carlene not being the pastor's wife, right?
Right.
She has her own identity. Her name is Carlene.
Man.
And she is married to the pastor.
Man.
She's not, her name's not First Lady.
No.
Her name's not all that. I am Carlene.
Listen, just pause right there. If you know me, if you don't know me by now, listen, I am that first lady tag, that first lady thing. It's not that I do not honor those women that love to be called that. Hey, if that's what you want to be called, listen, wonderful. But for me, I just feel, I don't know, I don't like it at all. And anyone that knows me knows that's if you want to get under my skin, call me First Lady. And a few people at our church that we're currently at City Temple, I'm not going to call any names, but they call me First Lady, and they know that like drives me crazy because I feel that at the end of the day, before I am a pastor's wife, I am Jamie Calisar's wife, not the wife of the church. You know what I mean? Like, I'm Carlene before I am Mrs. Calisar. I don't know. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do these two questions right here. So, what are your feelings on spanking, beating, or corporal punishment in regards to children? So,
Mercy.
X, Y, Z, right? So, we don't do corporal punishment. We don't beat our kids, but we have tapped them on the bottom. And I'll say this Carlene has. Like, I don't.
Yeah, he does not touch the girls.
I do not touch the girls. All I have to do is just probably raise my voice and speak sternly, but I have committed that I'm not going to touch them in that way, to spank or to beat them. That is that. Well, we don't beat. We don't believe in beat. Because my philosophy with beating children is you're teaching them that, I feel like this, you're teaching them that by hitting, that's how you get your point across. That's how you want them to know something. But Carlene is more of an expertise in that area.
I don't know if I'm an expertise, but
expert in that area. But yeah, we don't believe in corporal punishment. Now, I got beatings. You know, you can't be Caribbean without a beating. Like that's crazy to me. If you, that's almost like being black in America and not getting pulled over by the cops, right? So if you grew up in a West Indian home and you were able to get through it without one beating, please tell me what you did, because that's an amazing feat. But yeah, so I don't hit my daughters. I don't lay hands on them.
Yes, and so in our marriage, that's been something too that I've had to adjust to because I guess I'm more of the disciplinarian in our home, where I am the one that I have spanked them before, but spanking doesn't look like if you don't stop this right now. It more looks like a few taps with my hand. Hope I'm not going to be reported to CPS, but I just believe that one, when you are disciplining your child, whichever form it is that you choose to, I think it's important not to discipline them when you are hot. When you are in the moment, you're upset at whatever behavior it is that you are trying to deal with. I think it's very important for you to kind of calm down, count to 10, walk away, and then come back to the situation and come back. I know that chances are you don't really feel like beating, and that's a good thing, right? Because you don't want to hit them when you are the most upset, because now it can potentially lead to abusing them. I know in our culture it's not abuse, it's just what is. But it's in America, right? It is abuse when it is to the point where kids are having whelps and their bodies are bruised as a result. So I think as a parent, knowing your limit, knowing when to walk away and have a few moments to breathe, and then coming back and then figuring out how you can best discipline them. I can probably count on my one hand how many times I've spanked the girls. It hasn't been many because I'm more of a talker where I want them to what?
I was gonna say that's worse than a beating.
Exactly. So I'll sit there with them and I will talk through what has happened and how they can correct it, and we really just do this process of, hey, this was the issue, this was the problem. How can we solve that problem for the next time, and just kind of really talking through those things with them, because at the end of the day, I don't want my children to be afraid of me, or I don't want them to not do things and say, because I'm afraid mommy is going to, I don't want them to be afraid of me per se. I mean, I want them to have a little bit of fear in that, the respect part, but I don't want them to be afraid where, I don't know, they feel like I'm going to do something to harm them. And so, because I remember that's how I grew up. I grew up fearing my mother, like fearing that she was going to take my life.
Still scared of her.
Yeah, I'm low-key still afraid of her. I mean, even my brothers, who are like big men, like they're still afraid of her. I don't want to have that kind of fear where it shuts them down from being able to communicate with me and help, and to only see me as mommy is a disciplinarian. So yeah, that's a long answer. Try to shorten it as much as possible, but yeah.
Yeah, so we are way overspent. So I think we should take
one more, you said, right?
Yeah, Chi. I had the question right here. And let's look at Chi Daniel. Chi, what's up, Chi? It's been a minute, fam. And Chi wants to know, how important was chivalry to you during your courtship?
Oh, it was very important. It was very, very, very important. Yeah. It was very important to me that he would show me respect, in that kind of fawning over me, not me opening my door, or I don't know, pulling out the seat when we went out to eat. Like, that felt amazing. And that feels amazing because he still does it. So chivalry is super, super important to me. Yes.
Yes. And so we thank you so much for viewing us today. We went an hour and a half. Y'all stuck with us for an hour and a half. And so we appreciate all the comments. We appreciate all the suggestions. And we want to know, what do y'all want us to talk about? Like, what are some things that you want to hear about us and how we're doing and what we're doing? And or maybe something that's not about us, that's something outside of us that you want us to talk about. We would love it if you hit us in the comments, send us a message on, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is. We are here to serve, and I think that should do it, right? That's an hour and a half.
All right, here is, she said, what do you guys think is so difficult why is it so difficult for Christians, Adventists, to be vulnerable enough to talk about sex within a marriage, or even in general? Maybe that's something that we can talk about in our next. Oh my gosh, I'm a little afraid. But in our next next episode,
let's talk about sex,
baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good times and the bad
all the
times.
good things and the bad things
that can be. Let's talk about sex. Yeah, and even talking about that, like right now, I'm just like, oh yeah, we're good. We're grown.
It's been taboo in the Adventist church, but yeah, let's talk about it. We're sexual beings. Holla.
And especially in the she's saying in the context of marriage, we're not even vulnerable in that way. And to be honest,
yeah, because nobody's ever had, probably, but most of us in the African American community, we probably never even had the sex talk, or had a sex talk, or how to, what happens to your body sexually, and these various sorts of things. So, it's interesting. I'll dive into it head first.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. All right, with that, you're getting kind of fresh right now. So we are going to hit the DJ horns.
Oh my God!
No, I'm not gonna rap today. I'm gonna spare y'all the bars. I gotta go. I gotta go meet with Diddy and Jay-Z about this collaboration. They trying to get me, but I'm like, nah. I'll work for myself.
I need you to stop lying.
Yeah, but anyhow, we love you. We appreciate you.
We do. Thank you guys for hanging.
Jamie and Carlene. Peace.